Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 180. I am Mox Bornigan. I have with me, it's my angel.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm all right as well. How all right are you? Like,
I
are you
don't know
like
if there's
super all right?
qualification of that, but
You can't quantify the amount of all right?
no.
No.
I got a cramp in my foot though. That would be better if that would want to go away.
I'm sorry.
But feeling much better than when we were sick earlier this week. So
Yeah, that's a good sign.
that's an improvement.
That is, yeah, because that sucked. So yeah, good times. So, welcome to episode 80. We're here to talk about some games and some TV shows and all sorts of fun stuff. And we've got a new game to talk about in particular, which is the new dashboard. That's the new game we're talking about. We're going to talk about that for 120 minutes.
Oh God, let's not.
Why not?
I hate the new dashboard.
Oh, well, let's not spoil
No
it.
love.
Let's not spoil it. Spoiler alert. Amanda
Well,
hates the dashboard. You hate change.
I do hate change, but I also can't figure it out.
It's okay. It'll get better.
I feel very strongly about this.
Clearly. Well, without the new dashboard, you wouldn't be able to play your new favorite game, which is
Why not?
Fallout 4. Because you wouldn't be able to play it. You have to use the dashboard to play it.
I could play it on the old dashboard.
Huh? No, you can't. How?
If the old dashboard were around, I would still be able to play my game.
You wouldn't be able to because it would force update. Never mind. Anyway.
I was just saying if they didn't update to it, the world would have gone on.
But they did, so. All right, so we're going to talk about some Walking Dead. We've got Once Upon a Time, Into the Badlands.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Oh.
I did watch
You
it.
watched it without me?
I didn't think you were that interested. I kind of got that vibe.
I'm really not, but did you like it?
We'll talk about it.
Because I wasn't into Game of Thrones or Walking Dead either.
You might be into this. It's
Okay.
It's interesting.
Just
it's,
saying, before you totally write me off and not include me.
I wasn't into Walking Dead. I wasn't into Game of Thrones. Oh my God! Now you're obsessed.
Exactly.
So okay. Well, I guess I shouldn't write you off. I'm sorry. That's my bad. So we'll talk about that. But so let's first let's talk about what we're playing. Let's jump on our gaming stack. What are you playing this week?
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4,
Castle Crashers,
which is called the night game,
according to Eli.
according to Eli.
His new favorite game. It's the weirdest thing. Being outside, having your kid come inside, and all of a sudden see a notification that your
Right.
child has signed into Xbox Live.
Right. So we were outside in the front yard talking to someone, and all of a sudden my phone dings whenever one of my favorited people on my friends list gets online. So I know, like, hey, look, my brother's online. I can hop on and play with him. And I put Eli on there, and he was outside with us, and he went inside
Because
and,
he's had his own gamer tag since before he was born, actually.
before he was born. But anyway, we when we came inside, or when he came inside, like maybe 5 minutes later, I get a notification, Crazy Baby Eyes or Baby Crazy Eyes, whichever it is online. I'm like, oh, okay. And then sure enough, we go inside. Eli, what are you doing? I play the night game. Oh, okay. Which is Castle Crashers.
But yeah, he knows
So-
enough how to start up the Xbox and the TV and get
He can
everything
get it
going and
He
get
can
into
get
the
it
game.
to recognize his voice, and if he can't, then he knows how to turn the thing on. Which, thanks to the power of Kinect, and not many people out there understand like how awesome it is. But if it wasn't for that Kinect, he wouldn't be able to turn. Well, I guess he would. He'd be able to power
If
it
you put
on.
everything
Well, it wouldn't power
power
on the
on.
TV, and it wouldn't power on the surround sound. So
Yeah, it does
if
if you
it-
just push the button, doesn't it?
not without the Kinect, it doesn't.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So the Kinect does all that fancy stuff. So anyway, let's so Cass, so you playing? Let's go ahead and jump in and talk about Fallout. Let's just go ahead and go in straight in. Do that first.
Okay.
So what do you like? It's a terrible game. I can't stand it. It's horrible.
I haven't played a lot of it. I've got a few hours under my
I think
belt.
it said you had 4 hours into it.
That's a lot of hours.
It's half a day or half of a work
Half
day.
of a work day. You can really train a lot of hours into a game, and it makes you realize just how much I could be doing with my time and making money. Um,
But you enjoy this as a hobby.
I do, and it's frustrating that it sucks up so much of your life. Um, I like the town creation.
Yes, this. Let's talk about that
It
first.
was very frustrating for me last night, getting the pieces to lock. It is kind of frustrating. It is a little clunky as far as the mechanics go, but it's a really cool idea, and it's a lot of fun being able to personalize. Character creation I thought was pretty good as far as being able to personalize your character. You could really change lot.
They've always done a good job at that. That's one thing that Bethesda does really well is the character creation. That's good. The one thing I do like is I don't know if they did this in Halo, Fallout 3 or New Vegas. After you created your character, before you left the vault, you had an opportunity to change your character around, which I took advantage of that because my
did
dude
you?
was way too dark. Way too dark. Apparently that bathroom that I was in was super bright because
Oh, I didn't change my character. at all
I
after
picked
that.
one that I was like, okay, I've got a little bit of a dark complexion. So
Which you can't tell by this lighting down
which
here.
you can't. So this is exactly the bathroom lighting that we had in Fallout 4 at the very beginning. So I chose the one that looked like I look here. And so I'm out in the world and I go into third person view or whatever, or talk to somebody or whatnot, or not talk to, or, yeah, talk to somebody.
Yeah, you talk with
And
the,
I'm like,
the vault
holy shit, my
that
dude's
person.
black. Like, what the heck? Like, no. So sure enough, it allows you to change your settings. So I'm like, I quickly like, so yeah, I fixed that. I still couldn't find like the beard stuff.
Right.
I know you can do it. I just don't know where it was. So I kind of maybe
Give up?
I couldn't find it. So I was just like, I just clean cut. That's fine.
Okay.
So hopefully later on down the line you can change that or
I don't think mine looks like me, but I didn't think any of them could, and I don't think I want to look like me. So
oh dear God. Anyway, but the creation tools in the actual creation world, like where you can create settlements and stuff like that, which is a first for Fallout, at least to this degree. Obviously, you can befriend people before, and you kind of build different things up, different settlements up in the past games. But this one, you actually have the option of like tearing down, unusable structures and building your own and building, building plants, harvesting crops and actually planting crops. So you can
yeah, and you gotta
It's
you
a
gotta
lot of-
defend your city.
right. So it's kind of interesting that it brings a lot of that vault mini game that we were playing on our phones to the actual game itself.
I guess
Like, use
because
those
you have to assign people to be defense people, and you have to assign people to tend to your crops. So I can see
right.
that.
So it uses a lot of the same. And the thing is, and this is what I love, like graphically about this game, or iconically, I guess, is, and the designer in me is just going, oh my God, this is amazing. They use like the same imagery from all from the handheld game to this game. Like all the little icons are identical from the happiness little thing, little happy face.
They've
to
branded it very
They
well.
branded it perfectly, and I am shocked when they went to that level. Like it reminds me of how I remember back in the original Xbox with, I think it was Fable 2, where I'm almost positive it was
Pub
Fable 2, the
games?
pub games, where they went above and beyond for those. I know they charged us for those pub games. I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did.
I
Can't remember if they did or not. But they went above and beyond where they released these pub games and you could earn gold before the game came out, and then you could play the game and then use that gold. You could play the pub games in the game to earn gold in the game. It was just the synergy is awesome, and I'm just blown away. Bravo. But we we put in some time with the creation mode, and while it is frustrating, it reminds me of Halo 3's Forge map creator. Very clunky, very difficult to use. It's got a snap to object ability, which is sometimes frustrating. when creating like fences and things like that on uneven ground. I learned that last night. I tried to create another garden, and I wanted to protect that garden with a fence. Well, that garden was on a freaking hill, and half my fence is floating.
Oh, yeah.
And it just looks terrible.
It's something, though, I think that they could, in future updates, maybe improve upon. I don't know.
I don't know. So I just not. So I my whole thing is I'm just not going to build crops on the side of on the side of hills. It's got to be flat, flat dirt. So or just no fence, which sucks. But
I haven't built fences yet. But yeah.
it doesn't do anything. It just cosmetically, it just
It
appeases
just looks,
me.
yeah, I kind of like it too after seeing your town.
Yeah.
Another interesting aspect of the game is, and it may kind of be small, but, I played, started a quest. You had the same quest. It's a starter initial quest. You have to go to this town and talk with this people in the settlement. And the person I had to talk to in the settlement was a female, and my character's female, and you had a male character.
I did.
I don't know if that's because that was the first person we came across. If I could talk to anybody and got that same, I don't know. But also then from talking with those people in the settlement, you had to protect them against raiders in a different location, and it gave us 2 different locations to go
two
to.
completely different locations.
Yeah, so
Like you're going to like a pond that's where was it? It was southwest,
West.
and I'm going to this power plant that's even further east. I'm like, this is awesome. I hope there's more of this. I kind of want to go to that pond to see what's in that pond, if there's even raiders in that pond. But it's just one of those things where like it's the moment that I walked up to that hut and I saw a dude, I'm like, no way. Shut the front door.
Yeah, it's a small. It is a small difference, but
Small. And the thing is, there's a couple different ones. Like you were at online, like, and well, the other thing they noticed playing, I was like, hey, your dog is named Dog Meat. Mine's just Dog. You looked it up, and apparently, if you branch out a certain storyline,
right, if
you
talk
get
to somebody,
right.
in a
It gives you
particular
it names the
location.
dog Dog Meat.
Yours will eventually be named that
Later on down the line.
later on, yeah.
Is what you read. The other thing that I found interesting that last night is the character arcs are different. I won't spoil anything because this is really early on in the game, and and I don't know if I screwed myself.
What's different?
A character, so one of the first characters that you meet out of there's probably like 5 of them. The first group, the group that you meet, there's one character in particular that you did something and I went the opposite way. I was like, you know what? I would do this normally, and I have done this actually in real life. So I went a different route than you did.
In regards to Mama Murphy?
Yes. Mama Murphy I went a different route than you, completely different route, and so we'll talk more. I don't want to spoil it because it's. I mean,
think
it's
I know
still
what
new.
you're talking about.
It's still brand new, and I don't want to go too far into it.
Granted, it's only like 2 hours into the game, but
It's only 2 hours in the game. We'll talk more about it next week. How about that? We'll give ourselves a week off or whatever, and that way people got some time. But it just that level of like hard work, I guess, because if you think about it, like Bethesda's like, well, I mean, half the player base might not even see this. Should we really put it in here? Yeah, why not? You know what I mean? Like,
but it makes everyone's experience just a little bit more unique.
right. So when you go to work next day, be like, hey, did you go to that one power plant and just take out that dude with the freaking rocket launcher? No, I was at a pond,
Right.
taking out.
So I'd be
Merfolk
interested. I'd be
guys.
interested to hear or see from other, like, what are all the other, like, what options, what are all the possibilities of places that it could lead you.
So
We do have somebody online who is asking some questions regarding Fallout. The first one,
what
I
does
don't know
the
that there's a
Fallout's
single
motto
answer to it.
mean regards to war? War never changes. It's a quote from USC Scholar Grant.
I have never advocated war except as a means of peace. So seek peace, but prepare for war, because war never changes. War is like winter, and winter is coming.
Oh, winter is coming.
To take from another place that we love. what does Fallout's motto mean in regards to war?
That's a deep.
I mean, you could go deep into it, or you could just look at it on the surface. The war in which Fallout 4, the Fallout series comes from, takes place in the future. What they say, 2000, it was like 2078,
2077, I think it was,
right?
or 78.
And the character at the beginning goes on to, at the very beginning, is talking about his great grandfather, who fought, I believe, in World War II.
Yep.
And I kind of just took it at the surface level. War always causes
Loss always causes
loss,
pain.
destruction. But they did talk about, the good things that came out of that as well. So while there was destruction and pain, they did, the atomic bomb dropping on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. While it was horrible and catastrophic, there were good things that came out of it with people using atomic power for other resources.
Right.
So, while we are seeing the effects off the bat, this family's being taken to this fallout shelter. As we know from Fallout 3, the various vaults run different tests on the participants, which they're not necessarily aware of.
Which I didn't even know
going
that.
into that.
Well, I guess I did know that because of the...
Yeah, and I had forgot about that too. Until you get into this game, I had forgotten about that. But at this point, early on in the game, we have yet to see anything positive that had come out of this. And I don't think this is giving away too much because at this beginning, 200 years have passed since that war that created the world of Fallout 3.
Right. 4.
Or Fallout 4. So, a lot of time has passed. We're not seeing right now what
Anything
good,
positive,
right? What good has come of this? It'll be interesting to see if there is something.
Right. I do find it interesting. The Minutemen have kind of taken a back seat. Like everyone talks down to them, like they are selfish, and they can't be trusted or counted on. So they really taking up this quest line that I've taken part in is one of those things where well, should I really be doing this? Is this really a good use of my time? But I don't know. It's what I would do in that situation. I would be the one that would set up camp, get these people working, and getting these people settled, and then finding the next group of people to help and bring them in to help the people I started with. So that's kind of where, and I guess that, to me, that's what, War Never Changes is, you're always looking to help the next person. It's always, there's always someone that needs help no matter where you are. So...
Let's see. And another question, why? And this, I guess, we could go into further about.
I wanted to talk about this anyway.
Right. What things are the same and what things are different from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4? It feels very much familiar. There's a lot of things that are very, very much the same. And they, like you said, they did a good job of kind of keeping the branding and keeping things kind of flowing in the same direction. I didn't get into Fallout New Vegas. I had a hard time getting into it.
Mine kept glitching.
This feels the same as Fallout 3 to me.
Yes. I stopped playing Vegas because my character kept falling into the ground and I couldn't do anything, to the point where I'd have to restart my saves, and that pissed me off.
I didn't get immersed in the way I get immersed in this. It just feels like it's the same world. So some things that are the same and things that are different.
So let's talk about this one first. So the question was, why do you think Bethesda took out the Fallout 3 karma system? So this is
right, and this is something that we had discussed last night. The fact that you can go in anywhere and loot anything at this point.
At least as of right now, which I
don't see that changing.
I don't see it changing, but we haven't been in any large settlements yet. That's the one thing. The only thing that I've gone to outside of my settlement that I've thought that's been owned. Well, you're right. I've been to Concord, so that kind of makes sense. I don't know,
There's no town
but
people living there.
right. But I found a quarry, or I guess it's not really a quarry. It's more of a water filtration something or other. I don't know. Inside of a quarry. It looks like a quarry. I don't know. But I was helping this dude, and I came across his shack or his little thing, and I went in there, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna see, he's not looking, so I can probably, pick up a few things, and nothing was red, so there was no stealing or anything like that. So I was like, oh, that's right, because in Fallout 3 there was, if you stole something and you were being watched, they would call the cops, your morality would go down. The other thing is you could take on bad quests, and you could be almost like a villain, or not really a villain, but like you would do the immoral thing, like
Right.
blow up
I think
Megaton.
there was one with in regards to helping the ghouls. I remember at one point
Right.
you could either help the ghouls or you could work against them.
Right.
Or there was like an evil guy, like you said, wanted to blow up Megaton, and you could go the opposite route. So far, like I said, we're both only a few hours into the game, really.
Right.
So barely scratching the surface of the game, but
I think
there
ahead.
is a little bit. I don't want to call it a karma system, but they do still have things you can do that impact how the other characters feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to go too much into it, but
Basically,
yeah,
things
can
you
have-
do will impact other
Right.
other
you
people,
could
whether
have
they like you or
interactions
not
and-
like you.
interactions and conversations with other characters that will impact other members of your group and how they will
That's not hearing
continue
you.
to interact with you, whether or not they go with you on your quests or various
Stick
things.
around with you. Now, here's my take on it. I think, because you can see this in a couple different aspects of the game. I think that Bethesda was looking to blur the lines between what is, so it's not really X. You're the X, or you're either A or you're in column B. I think they want to blur those lines. So like you were talking about with the companions and with the people in your settlement, you could do something, with someone that would piss somebody else off, and that person is less likely to go out with you on campaigns. That is less likely to settle with you in your new settlements. Or, I mean, we haven't gotten to a point yet where you completely piss someone off and they become an enemy. I mean, I'm sure that's a possibility. And then, I mean, the same thing goes along with main storylines. Like, there is no main storyline.
I
Like
think there
there's no
is.
like there's no like when you pull up your Pit Boy, it doesn't say like it did before, this is the main mission right here, and then all your side quests. It doesn't do that. Everything is listed with each other. Like,
But I
there is
think
no
there is the one reason your character is doing what they're doing.
Oh no, I know that. No,
Okay.
I know there is a main story mission, but there is no like hey,
not
if you
not
want
something directing you
right,
saying
if
you
you
must
just
do this.
if you just want to do the 40-hour campaign and none of the story mission crap, just keep clicking on this one quest line. There's not that. There's a list of things to choose from, and you just kind of go. So I think they're really trying to blur the lines where people like trying to figure out, well, am I part of column A or part of column B? Is this the main story? I think they're trying to blur that and give everyone their own experience and like, what would you really do? That way you're not like, well, I want to be the really good character, but I really like that badass dude over there. But you can't be a good character and be with that badass over there. You have to be, you have to play the role.
It'll be interesting to see how it all comes into play. Like I said, as we move through the game. Other things we're talking about similarities and differences. Something else that we were talking about actually over dinner, that there is no, what did you call it?
For what?
When your equipment or your
Durability?
Yes, no durability issues for the for your armor or for your weapons, which then leads to the question, okay, well, why do I need to have 4 of the same shotgun in my inventory?
Right.
Whereas before you could fix or if something totally breaks, swap things out, or why would I keep
Make it
this stuff
stronger
around?
or
Right.
improve it, yeah. The one thing that I found interesting about that, and I looked it up online. I looked up online because I was kind of curious. Because there's a whole lot to this. Like, there's weapon crafting. There's like you can craft food. You can craft armor. There's a whole lot of customization in this game. And one of the things that I found out was you can do weapon mods. So you can have 2 rifles. You can have one that's more of like a damage based, like not like an auto rifle, but quicker firing, blah blah blah. But you can also have the exact same rifle that has a silencer and a night scope, and you can mod this gun to where you want it. And I didn't know this, but you could do that in Vegas as well. That was
Okay.
something that they brought over from Vegas. So, and I don't remember playing Vegas long enough if they disregarded the, and that wasn't Bethesda, so I can't tell if it was or not. If they disregarded the durability system in that or not. So I know durability was in Fallout 3 because I constantly remember picking up every frickin' pistol I could because I need to keep my pistol up and running. So I'm sure you can use it. You can break it down and get it for scrap for your other stuff. So I mean, there's still stuff to do with it, but
That is a big change.
at the end of the day, if you're walking around with 3 of the same pistol, you are carrying 2 pistols too many because there's no reason at this point to do that. You know,
Yeah.
you can drop that stuff off at your, in your house. You can drop that stuff off at your workbench. You can break it down, stuff like that.
I do like all the miscellaneous crap, basically.
God.
It has a purpose because
Right.
it can almost anything can be broken down into some other, it'll tell you 2 tin or 2 aluminum or 2 circuits or whatever the heck it may be. I don't know why I use 2 for all those, but
2-2.
it can all be broken down into something else you can use for your settlement, which is pretty cool. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, my biggest my best advice for anybody going into this game, if two reasons. If you've never played a Fallout game in your life, and this is the first one, take your time, pick one thing to do first, and do that. Don't get scatterbrained and do a whole bunch of different things, because it'll get very overwhelming and very frustrating very fast. For me, I jumped in. I was like, okay, I want to build a house. This is really hard. Okay, I'm not gonna. Let me stop that. I'm gonna go try and craft some things. Like, oh my god, I don't have enough stuff to craft. Like, what? Okay, like
There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do in
exactly.
this game.
And they don't really hold your hand very much. They don't say. I mean, you figured out how to apply people to, assign people to different jobs, which is awesome because I had no clue. Like when I needed to build up my defenses in my town, I was like, I'm just building. It just told me to build pylons. I'm building pylons. Why is this not going up? Well, you have to assign people to that pylon.
Yeah.
So I was able to make turrets last night before I went to bed. I made
good
2
job.
turrets. I put 2 turrets right in front of my tower. So my if you walk up that front road, or the only road in my sanctuary, you better be. We come in peace because the thing's gonna light you up.
Let's see. It's still hard to determine what's the same and what's different out of everything. Menu feels very similar. Leveling up, again, similar. You've got a list of traits. It's kind of cool how they've arranged the table or the grid of your perks and how you can level everything up. But I think it's still fairly similar
Right.
to the previous game. It just looks maybe a
A
little
little
prettier.
bit different.
But-
Each one has different things too, which is nice. So like all the different squares, you can level those up multiple times, and they each one do a different thing. For instance, the one I was looking into is I don't remember what it's called now. It's some companion thing. It's on the left hand side. Basically, if you don't have a companion, or if you use dog meat or dog or whatever his name is, this perk is active. Basically, you can carry 100 pounds more crap. The first star, you do 15% more damage. The second time you upgrade it, you can do 30% more damage, and then I believe the one after that, you do an additional 40 damage or something
Yeah.
ridiculous. So
I don't know. I enjoy it. The Pip-Boy menu all is very familiar.
Right.
Should be very familiar to anybody who's played Fallout 3.
the dialogue is pretty much identical.
Yeah. So
The one thing I wanted to mention about the dialogue that I thought was sweet is how intuitive it is. A lot of games that I've played in the past, if I've completed a certain quest, like if I've grabbed a certain item of like a quest item, and gone to this quest giver and like, oh hey, will you? It happens in WoW all the time. Hey, will you go get 15 bales of hay? Well, I already have 15 bales of hay in my pocket. Why are you asking me for 15 bales of hay? Here's my 15 bales of hay. So I would have to go out. I would have to accept the quest.
You have
go-
15 bales of hay in your pocket. You have some pretty big pockets, but
whatever. I have the bag of unbounding or whatever it's called, and I have to accept the quest, go out of the conversation, go back into the conversation, and complete the quest. With this one, I grabbed said item. Not going to mention what it is. Grab said item because it was behind a locked door. I'm like, hey, locked doors. There's always good shit behind locked doors, and I love the little the whole screwdriver
I
bobby
didn't do
pin.
that. I used the terminal.
Oh, really? I just broke that. I
I'm
love
not good
that.
at that. I'm not good at lock breaking.
I love it so good. I'm good at the easy and the novice ones. When it gets to the harder ones where you gotta be,
Even the easy and novice, I suck. I like trying to figure out the terminals with the word puzzles, but
are those in here?
yeah, that's
Okay,
how I opened that door.
I didn't know those. I was terrible at those. I
think those are fun.
yeah, I was terrible at those. Especially the ones that when you got them wrong, didn't they send out a droid or something like that? And you're like, oh shit, now I gotta kill that thing. So that's why I steer clear of those. Like I'll just, anyway. I pick up said item behind locked door and go up, and I didn't know it was a quest item. I was just like, hey, look, that's cool. I'll take that. It looks important. Sure. It was the only thing behind the locked door, so I took it. Went up, and sure enough, there's a quest that like, hey, there's this thing on top of the roof, but in order to get to the roof, you need to go down to get this thing. Oh, hey, one of the options inside of this conversation tree was I've already got it. Oh, you've already got it? Great. Da da da. Do 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 do.
Okay, the last question posed by one of our viewers is talking about the story. I don't know. It happens in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, we really haven't got that far. I mean,
in the first 15 minutes? Well, no. I mean, this would just be do we want to discuss story at all?
let's wait for next week.
Let more people get the game before we
yeah,
discuss story.
let's
Okay.
wait till next week because, I mean, we'll talk story, and that way we've got a better understanding. Because maybe by next week, I'm assuming by next week we'll have found out some more things and we can talk a little bit more.
Maybe.
So,
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna play some
I've
more.
got a lot of other stuff to do.
You can watch me play.
Got photo editing.
Anyway,
I wanna
okay.
play, though.
So
Yeah,
that's
that was
really
a lot about Fallout and
that's
what we've
right.
done
That's
so far.
So that's Fallout 4. Super awesome game. The only thing that I miss is that durability. Like, because there is no sense of like, well, I guess there is still a sense of urgency, but there's nothing like having your gun durability drop to that red mark, and you're like, oh god, if I shoot 5 more bullets, this thing is gonna break, and I won't have it ever again. So I need to switch out my weapon. You know what I mean? Like that right there is one of the things that got my blood pumping when you're out in the wasteland. But they did tighten up the shooting quite a bit though. Like the non-VATS shooting, like they did tighten that up quite a bit. So it's actually a viable way of killing things now. Like before it was like, and like the only weapon you could really use is like the chain gun where the bullets just like scatter.
Spray
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I know I'm gonna hit 2 of those guys out there. Like, all right. So
Okay.
enough about Fallout 4.
Yeah. We want to wrap up this podcast so we can play.
Shut
At
up.
least me.
Shut up. I want to talk about Halo 5 real quick, and then we can skip the other stuff. We can go right to the shows. Halo 5, 4 new maps have come out today.
Oh, really?
Free.
I haven't even played through the initial ones yet.
It's fine. It's fine. We probably won't play these because they're all big team battle maps. But they released a game update for an 8v8 playlist. So now you've got your 12v12 war chant room, whatever, war room, I don't know what it's called. And now we've got 8v8 big team battle. So the original big team battle's back. Yes.
I never liked Big Team Battle.
These maps are Forge made maps, which
Kind of sucks.
kind of sad. Kind of makes me sad. They said they are based on previous Halo maps, which is okay. I'm good. My only issue only issue I take with this is the forge made maps that we have right now in Halo 5. Terrible. They are so terrible. Like, they just don't look right. They're just, like, aesthetically, they're just,
Blah.
oh my god, yes, just terrible. I mean, the flow of the maps are okay, but it just, like, you look at it, you're like, ugh. Like,
It just looks the same.
it just looks the same. And they said that, by next summer we're going to have 15 more free maps. And I'm like, that's great. Hopefully they're
They're
not
probably all forged.
hopefully they're not all forged maps. I really hope they're not forged maps, because the problem with that is they also announced that Forge will be released to the public in December. So you know that people are going, they didn't, but Bungie did. They would create hoppers where you could play, Forge made maps that the community would vote on. That's great. I really enjoy that. That's perfect. You're a designer. You get paid to do this. Make a map without the Forge tools, please.
Yeah.
That's all I want. So, anyway. That's fine. The other thing that they released with this update is some new rec packs. So there's new weapon skins, which is awesome.
There was a complimentary rec pack that I got online the other day too.
Oh, there you go.
Did you not get it? I got a message from Halo.
I don't know. I
for
opened
whatever
I
reason.
opened up a whole bunch of stuff the other day, so it's probably.
Well, I got a message and they had to redeem the code.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it was like, "Thank you for playing Halo 5 Guardians."
Thank you for trusting us enough to spend $60 more twice.
Right. So then I got like a code in my message and it hit redeem code and then it downloaded this rec pack.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
I did get a message. I just went right to Halo and I opened all my packs again. So, the new rec packs will include some new weapon skins, which is neat, and a new assassination, which
Neat.
it is neat. Leave it alone. God, such a jerk. All right, let's talk about some shows. What are we talking about? What do we want to talk about first?
I don't even remember. We didn't even finish Talking Dead.
Right.
I was sick that night, so I really don't remember a lot of
So
our shows because I was really not.
Once
feeling
upon a
well.
time. Let's talk about Once Upon a Time first. Once Upon a Time.
That was a 2-hour
2-hour.
special. The second one was first one was amazing and
We found out-
mind blowing.
We found out what.
Okay, spoiler alert if you're not up to date on these shows, by
Right.
the way.
Yeah, sorry.
Um,
So we found out what Emma did to Hook.
and everybody else, why she had to wipe everybody's memories.
She created another dark one.
She did, which honestly, I know he didn't want that.
But he's living.
He is alive. Her plan, which would have, okay, yeah. So she kills Zelina by doing it, but come on, she let the baby live. She made Zelina have advance her pregnancy up, let Zelina live, or the baby live. So she wasn't harming an innocent. Zelina
she was killing off
pretty evil as it was
Yeah.
to begin with, and getting rid of all the other darkness. So really, I think
Take
her
one for the
plan
team.
isn't that bad.
Right, yeah.
Um,
And they're like, oh, there's got to be another way. Fuck her. No.
Right.
Screw her. Kill her and kill
yeah,
all evil
kill
in the
bad
world.
guy, get rid of all the evil in the world.
This is the problem with good people is they're like, oh, well, we've got to save
And
the
what does
world.
that say about me? That I'm so like,
You wouldn't kill an evil person to save the humanity and cut out all the evil in the world?
save your loved one's
Why
life.
are you okay,
keep your loved one from dying.
question? And this probably breaks the whole thing. Why are you trying to cut out all the evil people in the world anyway? Then, if you aren't willing to get rid of one, why are you trying to get rid of all of them?
Well, she's not trying to get rid of all the evil people in the world. She was trying to get rid of the darkness, which is
The
in
evil
her
of all the
end,
evil.
I guess.
It just doesn't make it.
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
But at any
I-
rate,
I really-
I felt like what she did was a fantastic idea and a means to an end as far as saving his life, getting the evil out of herself, and ridding the world of this really evil person.
And
So
all the dark magic. Like, is there no more dark magic then? Like, there's got to be.
don't know.
Like,
I think you can still perform dark magic probably, and it might turn you dark, but this dark one would no longer be within anybody. But anyhow, honestly, I think her idea was fantastic. But I'll be interested to see what comes into. We have a week break now before the next.
Yeah, it was kind of a long 2 episodes, and we didn't really get very far.
This
I mean, a
oh,
whole lot.
I felt like we got really far in the
I'm-
first episode. The second episode was more of a little backstory taking
That's
place
true.
with Brave. We got to see Red come back, see what she's been doing while she was out of the show for the last season or two. So that was kind of cool seeing her with Merida and Mulan. Mulan was back and seeing how
Mhm.
that whole story took place. You get to see a little kind of flashback as far as Merida's father, what happened with him. And then I guess, well, it's not really to current events. It's still kind of paralleling what's happening while they were in Camelot. So it's still a flashback.
Right.
And then a further flashback. So, but it was okay. I mean, it was a good episode. I think it just dulled in comparison to the episode before it. We were like mind blown. Like this is the whole plan. This is what this entire season has been leading up to, and it was this big, huge cliffhanger. Hook realized that now he is also a Dark One. Is pissed at Emma. Doesn't love her anymore. And just a major.
I don't
And
know.
then you go to all this backstory, and you're like,
Right.
but I want to see more of what's going to happen with Hook and Emma, and the 2 Dark Ones, and what's going on here. So
See,
the second one felt like a letdown.
See, I don't know.
Why not do the first one?
I'm
and then the
not
second?
really a big fan of the 2 episodes, like back-to-back episode,
That
2-hour
aren't-
premiere. Like, give me one episode that's an hour and a half long, or whatever. Like, I don't know.
That flow
I think
together.
I'm kind of falling out of love with this series, just because I think it's done its course. And
No, stop it.
I don't know.
Stop it.
It's just one of those things where, like, I mean, I think with this plot point of
I don't know
Emma
that you're
had.
the target demographic.
I don't
for
think I
this
am either, but
anyway.
I was kind of invested a little bit in the show, and early on in the Alice in Wonderland thing, I really dug that. That was awesome. But this is, just to me, if I don't know, how could you be a hero in this plot point with Emma's decision to dash out all of evil and get rid of this evil character?
Because it's still
and-
killing somebody. I think all of the heroes think that you can always change somebody for the better.
She's proven time and
I
time
know,
again
I know.
that this is not
and I
possible.
think that's the downfall of heroes, is that they're always trying to save everybody.
Right.
And
they're-
I think
and
that's
the thing is,
and that
they'll
is
never.
kind of a
Go ahead.
that's kind of a and I can't think of what it's called, but that is the downfall of being a hero. And I think that
Just trying
you're
to see the good
seeing-
in everybody.
right, and you see Emma. I mean, Emma from the beginning of the show has been called the savior. She's the hero of heroes. She's above even being a hero, and maybe she can see beyond. Not just, hey, I'm a hero. I have to love everything and save everybody. And there's this, that, I can make everything better and give everybody 3rd, 4th, 5th chances. She's better than that.
Magic comes at a cost, and that should be Zelina's life. I don't know. If you pull all the people in that group, how many people have said just kill her off? I think, obviously, Hook doesn't think that's a good idea, but I think he'd be about the only one that says, like, if you took Mary Margaret, Charming,
None of them wanted her dead.
really?
That's why they were all going to stop her. Yes, they were all going there to stop Emma.
must
That's
not
why they were in front of
I
Emma's
know.
house. I don't think you're following along.
I don't
but
think
anyway,
I was following along.
what else? Yeah, because that's why they were in the hospital room. They were trying to protect Zelina and the baby from Emma.
But that's when they thought Emma was coming after the baby. That's a difference. They were trying to get. They thought that
But
she was
then
going to cast
even
this magic
after,
spell.
even after she didn't take the baby, they didn't just say, "Oh, okay, well."
Right, but do they?
after
But
she-
do they know what she was doing?
No, but they knew that she took her,
Yeah.
and they still went after her instead of saying, "She's got her."
Right, but you don't know what she's. They don't know the whole story. I think if Emma was like, "Hey, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. We got a nice little outline here. This is who I'm going to kill, and this is what's going to happen." Everyone would have been like, "You know what? That's a great idea." And Hook would be like, "Yeah, I'm not really so sure." Well, Let's vote on it, and the Yays have it. Zelina,
I don't think so. I don't think you're
and
right.
then
on that. But
and then the new bad guy would be the baby, Zelina's baby,
Oh.
because you know that thing's gonna keep growing at that speed.
No,
Why wouldn't it?
because it's magic and she can do whatever the heck she wants.
But if
Anyway,
she kill-
let's just move on. Let's just move on. We don't need to dwell. We're yeah. Anyway, that's
Walking
Once Upon a
Dead.
Time into Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham. This is their catch-up story.
Yeah.
They get split up, Abraham and Sasha, and then
Which there's a little like romance going on between the two of them. And I'm wondering what the heck happened with him and Rosita, because weren't they kind of an item? I mean,
I don't know if they're an item.
or
I
are
think they were just kind
sex
of
because
they're
of
just kind of hitting
the
it
heck of
because
it?
they could. Because I mean, you got to have sex in the wasteland. I mean, that's just
in the wasteland, talking like Fallout.
Fallout,
Anyway.
whatever. In The Walking Dead, you've got to have it. You just
Yeah, so I don't know. That was kind of weird. I don't see them as an item. That feels forced to me. I just
Abraham's like, well, I'm the only dude, and you're the only chick.
yeah, I don't know.
I only know how to do one thing, and that's kick ass and sex.
Yeah, I can't see them being a serious couple, honestly.
I don't think so either. I really don't. I think it'll be a one-off thing, and then they'll get back to. I don't think he.
Their
I don't think he
personalities
thinks.
are just
Yeah, I don't think
they
he's.
don't
I don't think
fit.
he thinks that they're going to get back to Alexandria. Like they were talking like, oh, we've got electricity, we've got roof, we got a roof, we've got AC. We can call this home. So I don't think. I think they're going to wait on Daryl until he gets back, and if he never comes back, I think they're just going to sit put.
Didn't we see them in a truck?
That Daryl found.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they were on their way back. to
Yeah, no, I know
Alexandria.
they. No. Eventually
okay.
they do. I'm thinking like before they met back up with Daryl. I mean, she wrote Daryl on the wall. She's like, you know what? We're just gonna wait here. He'll come find
She wrote
us.
Dixon.
Or she wrote Dixon on the wall. Whatever. And then he was like Dix. Oh yeah, she wants it.
Oh my god.
That's what he was thinking. That's exactly what he was thinking. He's like, all
His little
right.
mental breakdown
That
was
was cool.
interesting when he was on the roof of that building and the zombie was up there, and
Mm-hmm.
he definitely had a moment where he was, he had every ability to take out that walker, but instead he went. I mean, he climbed up on this rickety piece of fence which was gonna be falling down. He could easily have fallen. He's not a small guy. He could have fallen through it. You never know what's gonna happen, and he's grappling with this walker face to face for no reason. And that's one thing Sasha said earlier in the episode was,
What was that?
something about jumping out. What was it? Jumping out of airplane. You toy with the idea of not pulling your string, and you play chicken with the ground.
Right. You're gonna lose.
But you've got that backup, and I think she's basically telling him like, look, don't be stupid. Like you
Right.
may want to feel, but we have that every day. Like that's our
Right.
everyday. Like now, that is kind of our everyday. We're always cheating death. We're always
Mm-hmm.
playing chicken. Like don't be stupid about it. Basically, I think is
Right.
kind of what she was saying to him.
Well, I don't know if not for any, because he was grappling with the zombie when he found out the rocket launcher was on his back, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it wasn't for nothing. He was like,
Well,
oh,
but
well,
there
I've got
was-
these rockets, and
But
he's got the rocket
he was
launcher.
taking unnecessary risks
Right.
in
He could
achieving
have.
that.
Yeah, he could have tried
mean,
to kill the zombie, then took
He
the
could
rocket
have,
launcher.
and he eventually came to that breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
backed off, and sure enough, the zombie was struggling, fell to the ground, and lo and behold, hey, the rocket launcher stayed behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, everything worked out kind of the way it should have in that, and he kind of realized, all right, maybe I don't need to take these unnecessary risks
Mm-hmm.
that are just stupid, and got some Cubans or something out of it
Something,
in the
Some
process.
stogies.
Yeah. So, Daryl, on the other hand, had found another group of. Well, they all kind of encountered this other group of people. They had
This
guns.
is not the wolves, though.
Right. I don't think these people are not the wolves. They had guns.
These guys almost seem like slave trader kind of people.
Well, they had mentioned
Like-
though taking a knee. So I think there is like,
There's some type of submission thing going on with like this
which
higher
you can kind of see
power.
that with wolves though too. You're not supposed to be here. It's another cult type group, I think.
These guys are much more stupid, though. Like these guys are
I don't know.
walking into pinned walkers. Like that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they are. Well, the other thing.
Daryl gave him the benefit of the doubt. We saw him ask the 3 questions.
Oh, I was talking. Well, yeah. But the group, the higher power group,
Right.
that are
Which these
chasing.
people had come from initially, and they left.
Right. But they figured out that you can chop off limbs to stop the infection.
Right. Which our people had known that too with Herschel.
Right. So it's kind of interesting to see. I'm interested to see more about where this group is. This parallel group, and kind of where our group is and what they've figured out and what they haven't figured out and what.
Well, and I think that's what makes Fear the Walking Dead interesting. Is you're seeing two separate people, totally separated by
Time, space,
and how they
adapt.
have learned. How is it that this group learned that you can chop off the limb or the infection's coming from, which the infection's already in your body, but
Like, well, you've been bitten 20 seconds ago. You're already dead.
right. So
Blood's
how
already
they
circulating your entire body.
how they come to realize it. Obviously, a bite to the torso, you can't just lop off your torso. Right.
Well, we can go across a wheelchair.
Yeah, I can do with my intestines and my stomach. Chop off half my lungs.
Here's a feeding tube.
Right. So I think it's interesting to see that even though they have had totally different experiences throughout this apocalypse, they're somehow figuring all of it out. The same truths. If I get bit here, I can chop it off and I can still survive. I liked when he did chop off that guy's arm. And he said, "Just come on, let's go walk it off."
Right,
Just walk off having your arm chopped off.
I feel
If I trip and fall and sprain my ankle, okay, maybe I'll walk that off. But having a limb cut off,
I feel like there would be more yelling and screaming if someone just macheted my forearm off. And it was a one whack and done. So it was. I mean, he didn't go like it wasn't like a Herschel
or a saw kind of like back and forth. No.
Was not a Herschel delimbing. It was totally one and done. And the dude was like, "Ow!" Oh, I'll walk it off. Like, really? Come on.
I know.
The dude just lost his arm.
Pretty hardcore.
So obviously that guy is the one that cuts off other people's arms and is back at camp because he's done it before and he's just like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting. I'll be interested to see if we see the people that took Daryl's motorcycle show up again.
And there's crossbow.
and his crossbow. Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen him lose that crossbow before.
It comes back.
And it always comes back. So I'm sure we haven't seen the end of Daryl's crossbow, or his motorcycle. It'll be interesting though to see where these people go and
I wonder what this will do to Daryl, like mentally, because you brought up the fact that he did ask the 3 questions: how many zombies have you killed, or how many walkers have you killed, how many people have you killed, and why? And he asked them, and that's kind of like their initiation type of thing.
right. It kind of shows that he's got faith in them. Like
Right.
he kind of
Doesn't happen very often. Does not happen very often, but I don't think he'll be asking those questions to many more people.
I don't know, but he was the one who wanted to go out and recruit. He's out there recruiting people.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Okay. So overall, I mean, it was a good episode. Very action packed. Lots of gross zombies.
Yeah.
The one where it's Sasha and Abraham are. They wanted to name him. He's kind of gross looking, banging on the door.
I mean, zombies aren't pretty.
Yeah, they're not pretty.
Anyway, so yeah. It'll be interesting. We'll be coming on up to our mid-season finales of all the shows here soon. I know Once Upon a Time starts back in March. I don't know about when Walking Dead comes back, but
I don't know.
anyway.
I'll talk briefly about Into the Badlands. Story-wise, it's kind of interesting. It's based on this whole premise that the world kind of fell apart. Well, at least this country fell apart. And there are these, I guess they call them barons. They're kind of like presidents of certain colonies that produce a certain material or a certain good that they then give to the other colonies, and there's kind of like a trust. Well, these barons have these cutthroats. I don't know if they call them cutthroats. I can't remember what they actually call them. But they basically hire these guys and they train them, and they have like all these camps. At least we basically saw one Baron and like his like kind of setup and all that stuff. And the premise of the story is actually pretty interesting. The main cutthroat assassin guy, his name is Sonny. He's very, very kind, very, very gentlemanlike, and he will murder you in a second. But I mean, the thing that I wanted to watch it for wasn't necessarily a story. I kind of have to see. I'll have to see a couple more episodes before I get into the actual story of it. But I wanted to see it for like the action scenes and like the choreographed like fight scenes and the sword play and stuff like that. And it just that entertainment alone is worth it. Like it's only gonna be 6 episodes. It's just like any other season, like one of any episode of any series. It's gonna be 6 episodes long. But they take you to some really neat, like, and there's some behind the scenes video up on AMC's website. But the buildings that they created, like you'll notice at the very beginning when you go up to this Baron's house and his settlement, they've got these huge doors that like kind of like fend off, like, or as like their defenses or whatever, and they built those doors. Each of them weigh a ton by themselves, and they're fully functioning opening and closing doors. They could have very easily made that all CGI and just made it, But anyway, so overall, I'm interested in seeing where it goes storyline wise. I don't know. There seems to be like there seems to be a disturbance between a couple of the Barons, so that could be interesting. The only thing I fear is with only having 7 Barons, it's going to create issues with good guy, bad guy. Like there isn't that many bad guys anymore. Now the Badlands, you've got people that actually like are revolting against all this, like, this possibility, or this like new world order, I guess. So that could create some
Which is kind
turmoil.
of going back to old. I mean, you used to have feudal, back in the feudal days. You had the landholders who, they people who worked on their land weren't necessarily slaves to them, but
So these guys were definitely
right. But it's kind of a similar. I mean, you've got, and I think at one point they were barons and baronesses. It was the lowest title of like nobility, but they were people who couldn't be bought and sold as slaves, and so I think it kind of parallels that in a way, but is just
right. This is, I mean, the one thing that I do like about this is you kind of get a sense that the Baron actually cares for the people that he works for or works for him. Like he talks about, if you side with me, you'll get the best food. And he's got all boys. So you'll get the best women, you'll get the best food, the best ale, blah, blah, blah. You'll have the best shelters, in the Badlands, blah, 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 if you fight to protect me. And the one thing that I'm confused on right off the bat is like he's got an army, like a flat out army of like hundreds of people. And I was like, why do you, I mean, I know, and that's just the army. Like he's got a separate group of people that are working out in his fields. So like he's just building up this army for what? I mean, protection against other barons. I guess you just constantly need that, and he's getting older and kind of more, his sons, there's a definite parallel struggle between Sonny, his like top assassin, and the Baron's son, oldest son. The Barons can have as many wives as they want, and his second wife, the one that wants his, is in it for his political power and all that, and doesn't care about him as such a person, as just his power line, I guess, is kind of like, well, you need to talk to your father, and you need to make sure that you're in the right position at the right time, so when he passes, you can take up his place or whatever. Which I don't know. Some of the story elements aren't quite all there yet, and I think it's just because it's episode 1, so it'll be interesting to see. So
going back to Fallout 4 real quick, my sister just messaged me with an interesting statistic. On the day that Fallout 4 was released, porn sites reported greatly reduced traffic.
Heard this. I did hear this. That's hilarious.
So does that mean all people who play Fallout 4 watch porn?
Well,
Visit
I
porn
did
sites?
see there was one. Is 1.87 million copies were sold digitally, and 1.5 of those were on Steam, which is PC. So I would imagine that the 1.5 people downloading that game didn't have a lot more to do than play Fallout 4 that day. So
Anyway,
I
kind of
did-
an interesting statistic that, you know,
porn
People-
sites were seeing a
a
decrease.
decrease in
Well,
visitors on the day Fallout 4 was released.
And you know the other thing that's interesting about that too is Twitch. It hit on Twitch the most number of streamers, the most number of viewers. So not only did it sell the most, but it also had the most viewership on stream, and also had the most people streaming it. So I guess if you didn't have it, you were watching it, and if you had it, you were streaming it.
Yep.
So and you weren't watching porn. Okay. New dashboard. New dashboard's okay. It'll grow on you. The favorite thing about the new dashboard is backward compatibility and the ability to go to your games that you have on your hard drive. If you scroll all the way over to the right, it'll show you every game that you've ever downloaded that's backwards compatible, as well as games that you've downloaded and deleted from your Xbox One, and you can download them right from there, which is awesome. You don't have to keep track of what you're downloading and what you've deleted. You can just go right to that page. Again, that's going to your games tab. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, go to My Games and Apps, go to the games side, and go all the way over to the far right. Friends list is a lot easier to get to too. That's something that's awesome. So that's all I got. I wasn't a big fan of the original dashboard. I think this is much better. Like, it's easier to read. So
Okay.
it's less Connect friendly. I guess not Connect friendly. It's less like, hey, you better have a Connect to use this. Like, boom, it's in your face, kind of like this OS is. So anyway, did you want to talk about? I know you don't. Okay. So that was episode 180. 180. We'll be back next week, next Wednesday at 8 p.m. for episode 181. That's November 25th. Mana Drain is next Tuesday. That's where Magic Vice and myself will talk about some Magic. We've got our new decks that we're building for our Modern tournament, so we're going to be outlining some of those changes.
Do you know that 180 hours of podcast is 7.5 days?
Yeah, but if you look, we've been podcasting for almost 10 years now.
No. I haven't even known you for 10
It hasn't been 10 years. It's been quite a few years.
We've been married for 8. Maybe it has been about 10 years.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been 9.
It's been a hot minute.
Anyway, a week.
We've been podcasting for a week straight.
God.
GG.
Oh, yeah.
So our next
Anyway.
episode, Mana Drain, is episode 7.
Congratulations. Almost a full work day.
Almost a full work day, which we go a little bit longer than an hour. But
Of course you do.
shut up. If you'd like to watch us live, you can go to twitch.tv/BC podcast. If you want to catch our old shows, go over to youtube.com/72DPI online. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. We really do appreciate it. That's both on Twitch and YouTube. We can definitely use the likes. Yeah, some good conversation. Good episode. I'm excited. It's a great episode. And we hit an hour. And we started on time. Let's just wrap it. That's a wrap. See you
All
guys
right,
next
good
week.
night.
Good night.